Welcome to Fuller Expectations, the podcast where we dive into topics like aging with confidence, navigating identity shifts, building new healthy habits, rediscovering purpose, health and wellness routines in midlife, and yes, maybe even money, retirement, relationships, and letting go of things that no longer serve you. I'm your host, Carrie Fuller, and I am so excited that you're here with me today. My hope is that our episodes feel like a blend of personal growth, real conversation, and gentle encouragement. We'll keep things honest, thoughtful, and practical. If you have not already, please hit follow so that our podcast can appear in your podcast library. We drop episodes every week, and we don't want you to miss it. And if you thought of somebody who might benefit by what you've heard today, please share this episode with them. And now let's get into today's episode. Hello, Fuller Expectations podcast family. Thanks so much for joining us today. I am excited to share with you some things that I learned recently in a Pulse blog, and it's all focused around sleep and sharing with you 14 science-backed tips to recover after a bad night's sleep. We don't all sleep perfectly every single night, right? If you wake up and you're a little frustrated with a really restless night, this episode is for you. Most of us are familiar with that frustration when we're just watching the clock. It seems like every hour we look, or maybe even more than that, and then we're greeted by a very disappointing score on our Oura ring for those of us who wear those to bed at night. I purposely wear mine just to track my sleep because I was interested in learning more about how much sleep I was really getting. I think those of us in midlife were like, how much sleep am I really getting? Because your sleep and good sleep really translates to so many other things. Don't stress if you are not getting a perfect night's sleep every single night. It's perfectly normal to have some not so restful nights. So while you might not be able to make up for lost sleep instantly, you can manage your physiology the next day to stay productive and alert. So these are some things that we're going to talk about today. One of the things I love, I'm not making money off of Oura. I'm not pitching the product or anything like that to you. I'm just sharing something that I love when I wear this to bed at night. I actually get to see how much sleep debt I have if I go into debt, meaning I think it's based on 6.5 hours of sleep a night or something. If I don't get at least that, it actually calculates sleep debt. And then I'm happy that usually on the weekends, I can make up for that. But if you need some productive ways to stay alert if you've had bad night's sleep, we're going to talk today about how to boost your energy and how to set yourself up for high quality rest the next night. So the first thing is don't hit your snooze button. It might be tempting, but those extra 9 minutes of fragmented sleep can actually make you feel worse. This phenomenon is known as sleep inertia. It leaves you feeling groggy for longer. Instead, you're better off getting up as soon as your alarm clock goes off to help your body start its natural wake-up process. So if you are really tired in the morning, the first tip, again, don't hit the snooze button. Don't do it. The second tip is to seek natural sunlight immediately. The fact is, exposure to bright light, ideally sunlight, within 30 minutes of waking helps reset your circadian rhythm. So light suppresses the production of melatonin, which is the sleep hormone, and it boosts cortisol to help you feel alert. So if it's dark outside, consider using high intensity light therapy. And we all know this. I hate that when I have to get up for a really early flight or something like that and it's still dark out and it takes you a lot longer to feel like you're actually awake. And that's because the light, ideally sunlight, has something to do with that. The third tip is to hydrate with electrolytes. So when you're tired after a bad night's sleep, you're more vulnerable to dehydration, and in turn, dehydration exacerbates fatigue and brain fog. So to help that vicious cycle, make sure you start your day with a large glass of water. Current guidelines recommend about 15.5 cups, which is 3.7 liters of fluid a day for men, and 11.5 cups, which is 2.7 liters for women. And when you add a pinch of sea salt or electrolytes to your water, it can really help with cellular hydration, ensuring that your brain has the fluids it needs to function despite your lack of sleep. So again, that third tip is to hydrate with electrolytes. Our fourth tip is to time your caffeine strategically. Caffeine is the world's most popular stimulant for a reason, and that's because it works. Caffeine blocks adenosine and increases activity in your brain and your central nervous system to kick tiredness to the curb. So aim for about 75 to 150 milligrams of caffeine, which has been supported in research to actually increase your alertness. So don't reach for the coffee the second you wake up. Instead, if you wait about 90 minutes, which allows your body to naturally clear out adenosine, which is the chemical that builds up and makes you feel sleepy, and avoid grabbing it late in the day, as early afternoon caffeine can actually stay in your system and negatively impact your sleep the next night too. So again, that fourth tip is to time your caffeine strategically. Wait about 90 minutes after you wake up and definitely avoid it later in the afternoon. The fifth tip is to try taking a colder shower than you normally would. So it might not be the most pleasant way to wake up, but research actually suggests that cold water immersion can raise your levels of norepinephrine and dopamine, which are two neurotransmitters that play an important role in energy and alertness. So to get the benefits, aim for a 2 to 3 minute cold shower, but feel free to switch between warm and cold water if that's better for you. So again, that fifth tip is to try taking a cooler shower. The sixth tip is to eat a high protein breakfast. You definitely want to avoid heavy carbs and sugars in the morning, which can lead to spikes in your glucose levels and subsequently a crash. Opt for protein-rich foods like eggs, Greek yogurt, or a protein shake, which will provide steady energy levels throughout the morning. Again, the sixth tip is to eat a high protein breakfast. Our seventh tip is to take a strategic power nap. If your schedule will allow for a 10 to 20 minute power nap, it can provide significant cognitive boost. Keep it under 30 minutes though to avoid entering a deep sleep, which would leave you feeling more tired upon waking. So if you're like me, I always avoid naps. I never take a nap because I always say I wake up more tired. That's probably because I was sleeping longer than 30 minutes in my nap. So definitely 10 to 20 minute power nap is the seventh tip. Our eighth tip is to prioritize the hardest tasks of your day earlier. So your cognitive performance will likely peak about 2 to 3 hours after you wake up, and then it's going to dip significantly in the afternoon. So tackle your most demanding projects or meetings during that morning window while your survival adrenaline is still high. Number 8, again, prioritize your hardest tasks in the morning. Our ninth tip is to silence your notifications. The average smartphone user gets 46 notifications a day. Constant dinging is very tempting to keep picking up your phone. So this information overload contributes to mental fatigue. It actually does drain you mentally, and it can make it harder to concentrate on things that you have to do in the day. In fact, research has shown that each time we're distracted can take up to 23 minutes to regain focus. To help you get through the day after a bad night, definitely turn off your notifications to give yourself the best chance of concentrating. Again, number 9, silence the notifications on your phone. Our 10th tip is to get moving with light exercise. An immense gym session might exacerbate your exhaustion, but light movement, like a 10 or 15 minute walk outside, actually increases blood flow to the brain and releases endorphins. So the combination of movement and fresh air is a natural fatigue fighter. In fact, one study that found stair walking actually boosts energy levels more than a dose of caffeine. So that 10th tip again is to get moving with some light exercise. Our 11th tip is practice non-sleep deep rest. It's NSDR, non-sleep deep rest. If you can't nap, try a 10-minute non-sleep deep rest. And what this is it's a type of guided practice, like think of yoga, that will actually put you in a hypnotic state, and it mimics deep sleep. And studies show that it can increase dopamine levels and cerebral blood flow, which can make you feel more energized and awake. So our 11th tip again is practice NSDR, non-sleep deep rest. The 12th tip is to take some deep breaths. Breathing exercises can not only calm your nervous system, but they can also help you increase alertness. Alternate nostril breathing in particular activates your parasympathetic nervous system, delivering a calming yet clarifying effect. One study found that it lowers blood pressure and increases alertness. So again, take some deep breaths, and these breathing exercises will actually calm your nervous system. Our 13th tip is to avoid late sugar and heavy meals. So when you're tired, your body actually craves high-calorie junk food, and that's due to a spike in the hunger hormone called ghrelin. Resist the urge to reach for sugary snacks and empty carbs late in the day, and stick to balanced meals to avoid a metabolic slump. So again, that 13th tip is avoid late sugar and heavy meals. Our 14th tip is to set the stage for tonight's sleep after your horrible night's sleep last night. Don't go to bed too early because this can further disrupt your circadian rhythm. So stick to your normal bedtime, but dim the lights 2 hours prior to going to bed and avoid screen time. Your goal is to build up enough sleep pressure to ensure deep restorative sleep tonight after sleeping horribly last night. So again, that 14th tip is to set the stage for tonight's sleep, and that's by dimming the lights a couple hours before you go to bed and put your phone down. We're going to cover some frequently asked questions around this topic. So the first question is, how do I get through a workday on no sleep? How you get through a workday on no sleep is to focus on getting natural light exposure, strategic caffeine timing, tackling complex tasks early in the morning when your alertness is the highest. Our second question, is it better to snooze or to get up immediately after a bad night's sleep? Definitely avoid hitting the snooze button. While that extra 9 minutes might feel like a gift, it is actually going to result in fragmented sleep and trigger sleep inertia, which actually makes you more groggy. So it is not worth hitting the snooze button. And the next question, does coffee help with sleep deprivation? The answer is caffeine blocks adenosine receptors, which temporarily masks fatigue, but it does not replace the biological necessity of sleep. So no, coffee does not help with sleep deprivation. Our next question, what should I eat for breakfast if I'm feeling exhausted? And our answer is skip the sugary cereals and heavy carbs because they lead to glucose spikes followed by an energy draining crash. So you want to go for the high protein breakfasts like eggs or Greek yogurt. And this is going to provide you with a steady stream of energy to keep you functional throughout your morning. And the next question, is a 20-minute nap better than no nap at all? And the answer is yes. A 20-minute power nap can improve alertness and motor skills without grogginess associated with longer sleep periods. But again, do not sleep longer than 30 minutes or you're going to wake up even more tired. And our last question is, if I am exhausted, should I go to bed earlier than usual to catch up on my sleep? And the answer is surprisingly no. You should stick to your normal bedtime and keep your circadian rhythm consistent. To prepare for a better night, focus on dimming the lights 2 hours before bed and avoiding screen time. No phones, no computers. This is going to allow your sleep pressure to build up naturally. I hope that these 14 science-backed tips to recover after a bad night's sleep help you out the next time you wake up feeling like you just need another hour of sleep to get through your day. We've all been there. We all have crazy nights where we're looking at the clock, what seems like every hour. But again, there's definitely ways that we can get through our day and make things a little easier. So I hope that you enjoyed these little tips that were provided by the Pulse blog. If you thought of somebody who might benefit by what you've heard today, please share this podcast with them. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening today. If this episode sparked something in you, please share it with a friend, leave a comment or a review, and reach out and let me know what resonated. Remember, no matter what age or stage of life you're in, you can pivot. And always remember, the second half of life is not a winding down. It's a waking up. Please follow or subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of our podcast family. Let's keep showing up and being the best version of ourselves. Until next time, take care.